Love, love will tear us apart again. And love will tear us apart again.
Do you want me? Well, what is it you have to give me then?
So in this episode, this video, you will see 4 different text messages from the aftermath of me encountering this Jehovah Witness lady trying to indoctrinate my children. And the first 3 is from my oldest, and she's pretty much lamenting and warning me about, they came to visit. An elder came to visit, and some other issues when my wife is trying to kind of indoctrinate her directly. And then a text from the JW lady that we all love from my previous videos when she went unhinged on me, losing her cool. But that's what I have going on here in this particular recording. So my original plan really was just to talk to my kids and wife directly. I wasn't going to talk to any of her JW friends unless they asked questions directly or things like that. But not totally go after them or try to unwitness to them or anything. I was going to stay away from that subject from them completely. But them being Jehovah Witnesses, they always bring up the subject anyway. And you could tell from the last encounter I had with a JW woman trying to indoctrinate my kids. I didn't initiate the conversation, but she was there. I was there because I asked to be there whenever anybody comes to visit the kids, JW-wise, and studies or whatever. But yeah, so my plan was just to concentrate on my family, just to talk to them, to unwitness to them only. I pretty much put my wife on the back burner because she's pretty much at this point in time, I wouldn't say hopeless, but close to it, to where I really can't say nothing to her. She is entrenched deeply, and she's digging in her heels even harder. But my kids, that's a different story. I got them early enough in age where they're growing up, and they're also understanding a little bit better now, and they're seeing the high control factor of the society with all this little subtle talking to by the JW lady, my mom, their grandma, and people in that community in general. They're totally love bombing them, and doing what they do, and they're concentrating on the kids. That's what's so insidious about it. They're really focusing in on them. I mean, they're hard up for members, and you would figure from their point of view, if they could have them as a study, that's guaranteed to sort of keep them out of the rain and cold and not go door knocking. They could just come to the house and do their time doing that while sipping coffee. At this point, my kids are not having none of this. Every time something is out of place, like they're visiting and kind of pestering them, they text me to say that they're around the house, they're coming around, and of course these people, they don't respect my wishes at all. They would come when I'm not there, and it seems like the word is out that I'm an opposing family member now, an opposing non-believer. So even though I try to stay under the radar all this time, just keeping it in-house, too late. Once I engaged the JW lady that came to the house trying to groom my kids, and bear in mind, that's exactly what's going on. She was trying to groom my kids and to have them be on her side, to have things in common, and love bombing, and we talk about animals and things like that. But once I engaged her, because like I said in the other video, What she was talking to my kids about was like looking at someone taking a dagger and plunging it into the hearts of my children while me being there. And of course, I being present, I was not going to let that happen. So, and that's the story there. And they don't respect your boundaries or your perspective on things. It's their way or the highway. But they haven't encountered anything like me before, I don't think. Perhaps other people are doing what I'm doing, but it's not documented. There's no, examples out there. There are some testimonies out there of worldly spouses doing the exact thing, and XJWs who kind of does that particular strategy, but it's not well known, and I have no shame in recording everything, so it's going to be documented and it's live. So this first incident was when one of the elders came by, and it wasn't a shepherding call or my wife calling them. I mean, after the fact, I know this now, but all he was doing was coming by the house and dropping off some publications, the 2 or 3 magazines and, things like that. And my wife took the opportunity to lament her frustration in myself and what's going on with my kids, as far as the indoctrination is not taking hold. It's not working for her. So I'm going to read off what my kid said, because she was home. It was like a snow day or something, or a sick day, I forget what. But she writes, "Some elders show up at the house. They are talking about me, saying you're taking away hearts, that I'm creating a toxic environment. I did scare the JW lady indoctrinator. Mommy said you're hurting her feelings at what we are, and that they are taking my side, that the kids are taking my side." And there was supposedly 2 elders, but it's actually the elder and his wife, the elderette. My kid doesn't know the hierarchy of their rank structure. So I write to her and says, "Sounds like they are trying to break up our family. You were there. Do you think I created a toxic environment? Record the conversation if you can. Don't say a word. Let's see if Mommy will tell me what happened on her own." So this person never met me. We never shook hands. We never looked eye to eye. And yet he's passing judgment on my, being here. And he straight ahead. I mean, I don't drink. I don't do none of that. I don't take drugs. I work hard. I come home. I don't argue about things, maybe finances. That's about it. But like I said, my strategy was to be calm, cool, and collective, and just speak facts straight from the Bible and their prior, publications from way back when. Just the facts, from court cases to things that are well documented. No apostasy sites or anything like that, or hearsay. But they don't know what to do with that. It's all true. They could verify it. It's all printed and documented. But with me, they can't pigeonhole me into their stereotype of being the drunk and, the opposer and this and that. So right away, they just say that I'm causing a toxic environment. Perhaps I'm causing a toxic environment to their indoctrination, but as far as the kids, I'm giving them a choice of what they want to, an educated choice of what they want to do, become a JW or look somewhere else. So right then and there, they're slandering my character and defaming myself and everything, and putting me in a bad light in front of my oldest, mind you, because she's listening to all this and texting me about what they're saying. So this is what you should expect to happen if you go this route or any route at all. I mean, if you do become, what do you call it, combative and arguing and things like that, that just plays into their hands of, what they expect from a worldly person, a non-JW believer. But I'm all smiles, and I break out the documentation from their publications, and I try to have an even keel voice to where it's not argumentative, but they still take it as argumentative, especially my wife. She doesn't think of it as a different point of view. She's thinking of me trashing her religion outright, just looking for the bad things. That's the angle that they are taking with me at this point. Other than that, they don't have a leg to stand on with me, because it's like, well, this wasn't covered in the meetings as far as how to handle an opposing passive-aggressive worldly person. And I sort of posed the same question to my kid in the text, saying she was there when we had this, conversation with this other lady. Does she think that I created a toxic environment? I could say not. No way. And by the way, my wife didn't mention anything about this conversation or that the elders came by or anything. It was quiet, like, business as usual, pretty much, as far as where she's concerned. So she didn't mention anything about this at all with me. So here's the second incident, and this was a school morning, and my kid, she had a delay, sort of 2 hours delay in going to school every particular day. So my wife had like a couple of hours to be with my kid for, in the morning and stuff. So here's my kid lamenting after she was dropped off to school. And she writes, Mom is getting on my case about religion, saying you are me, taking our hearts away from her, and you are watching propaganda from the haters. She says people are doing hate on them. She also pressured me on why I believe myself more than Mom. I told her I would tell her when I'm older. For some long minutes, she is studying with me before I get into the car. Then I write back, it's not hate, it's just exposing their history and claims. She doesn't even listen or investigate. Then she replies, only Mom thinks it's hate on her, that we only have to have the same aspirations as them. I don't know what she meant by that. Then I'm like, it's not just voicing my opinion, which they can't prove. Then she writes back, when JW Lady Indoctrinator was talking about her cousin in the military, I said, it's good that he's serving the country and people. And I write back, Miss, listen to her and my side and make an educated guess for yourself. Only Mom said that people died by the sword. I did say okay a lot, kind of like trying to appease her, saying okay, yeah, okay, that sort of thing. Then I write back, I never told you not to listen to them, the JWs, and Mom is saying not to listen to my side. They have a lot to hide. They don't want you to know about their history. So pretty much I was saying that I'm telling you guys, the kids, go ahead and listen to their point of view. See what they have to say, and then listen to what I have to say. But Mom is turning it around and saying that just listen to her and don't listen to me. Then my kid writes, I said I researched that she researched it on Google. And then my kid said that Mom replied, and quote, and she said it's told by haters. Pretty much whatever's on Google or on the internet is only by haters. And I replied back, you're doing good, kid. Actually, my kid's name. Your faith in God is not weak like they are telling you. They are trying to guilt you into joining. She doesn't even research to see if it's true. None of them does. So they're kind of laying on the guilt trip on my kid, saying that she's losing her faith and her heart is not in it, and she just disgusting. I mean, they're telling my kid that she doesn't have enough faith. Like, they could judge and read hearts of what my kid is doing. During a conversation with them, I told them that no, she does have faith, but she's just guarding her heart. And there was a JW convention, and the theme was guarding your heart. How ironic. Now, this is the same conversation, and in previous videos I've recommended, or this is working pretty good, to where you're going to have to give a little bit so you don't seem like the all-out bad guy. I mean, according to the JWs. Passive aggressiveness, it works very well in this situation here. So here we're making a stance as to, I want to be present to all the indoctrination sessions that my kids experience. So I could be there as the Borean and, go back and research it to see if it's true. And that's all I'm doing here. The bottom line of my activism with my kids is being the Berean for them, if you take the biblical, theology root on this. So my kid writes, she's going to take me to the memorial about Jesus. I researched it on Google, only it doesn't tell the bad stuff. Not the bad stuff according to regular Christianity, but she doesn't know the finer details of the JW take on this. And this is when I tell her that, kind of giving her the power, my kid the power to make her own decision and say, to choose whether she wants to go or not. Not that I'm going to tell her behind mom's back saying, oh, don't go to that, and kind of like, it's not proper, I don't think. I think this is the best way, is to have the children make an educated decision whether they want to do this or not. So I write back saying, that's okay if you want to, but you don't have to. There's the choice. She writes back, I have talked to her on history a bit. And I write back, yes, miss, do your research. And she used my example of using Martin Luther King as a, pious, religious man taking on the American government for justice. And she learns it about in school and everything, and she admires what Martin Luther King has done for all of us, really. And this is the subject of being neutral, and at what point should you not, get involved or not. My kids, naturally, they go for justice. They're justice warriors, I would say. Not as bad as the Antifa side of the house and things like that, but I would say natural justice. They want people to be treated correctly throughout, and they're sweet girls. They're sweet girls, and they want to see everybody be happy. But anyway, and she writes, telling my mom about history, about how Martin Luther King uses nonviolence politics, and how they did not join and just follow the rules, not following the discrimination laws and that stuff. And I wrote back, yes, that's a good example. She say they joined. My wife said that they joined. That not how you told me. That's kind of like convoluted there. I don't know what that means, but texting with teenagers, what can you expect? And I wrote back, kind of clarifying a little bit, that Martin Luther King voted, and some did join to change things for the better, meaning join the political process of voting and organizing and the civil rights movement, joining that movement to make a better change for equality in the United States at that time. And I also give the example, not here, but of Mahatma Gandhi for India, which ironically Martin Luther King followed his footsteps or techniques to enact change for the better. And then my kid writes that my wife says they help people everywhere. Okay, just want to clarify. I don't know what she means by that. Maybe the JWs help people everywhere? She says they help animals only not to do politics. Or pretty much my kid is saying that the JWs help people everywhere and they even help animals, but they just don't do politics. In my, oh, wait a minute. Only there are nonviolent politics. They just don't want someone to put their full heart into it, meaning they help people, but they don't join the political movement or things like that, which is, I don't think is true. And I follow up with, okay, miss, just follow your heart. You are doing good. Question everything. And my kid writes back, yup, and I can always clarify it. So basically, I think my wife was trying to tell my kid that you could do good in this world without having to join a political movement and be involved with the world, as they would say. Uh, but she's kind of like, it's not true. I mean, it's more complicated than that. And the JWs, they don't want you to join any political movement or get involved in politics at all. Maybe human rights, but not like during the 60s, during the, discrimination and things of that nature. Now, this is the point where my kid goes back to the memorial thing, and she's getting really annoyed about this. She's not interested at all. And it's not because I told her or anything about her or anything. She just generally does not want to do this. And my kid writes to go to the memorial. Only I am annoyed that it takes so long, and she talks to everyone. She is really working it, meaning my wife is working with my kid to try to get her to go. And at this point, I'm letting my kid know, kind of like appease a little bit, give a little bit. And I write, it's okay, just endure it to make her happy. It'll be over. And my kid writes back, it's not going to work since I know all I have to do is say okay and yes. So my kid is like being passive aggressive, saying, okay, yeah, whatever. And I write back, I know, and I try to say this all the time, and I end all my conversations with my kids and everything, and every time we get together and sit down and talk about these issues and what they're going through and what's going on behind the scenes with the JWs and how they actually function and what they're trying to do to them as far as indoctrination. I focused, I wouldn't say anger, but the critical eye. I focused the critical eye to the leadership, to the ministerial servants and above. The regular people, the rank and file, I express to the kids all the time, and this is the first time I've actually even mentioned this, I think, here, maybe in some other places, but I always say that it's not their fault. It's not the rank and file's fault. They are being told this thing that is true to them, and basically here I write back, I know. Just remember, Mom is doing what she thinks is right for you. She loves you very much. And I truly believe that's all of the rank and file, for maybe an exception of a few. But the bottom line, my wife loves us a lot, and she's just, the product of her environment and her indoctrination. And as long as the kids know that to separate the two between mom and JW mom, they could understand this what's going on more clearly, and they are understanding now. And I always leave with a positive note like that, not to blame mom for this. It's not her fault. Don't ever blame mom, because she is the product of the indoctrination that they want you two kids to be in the future, to work for them. I always focus on that idea to them, and to take that idea and run with it as far as their understanding. Never blame mom, never blame dad, never blame grandma and grandpa. It's the ministerial servants and above. It's the machine on top, the man behind the curtains. Now, this is a text from another incident, the third incident, and this is when I was away on business overnight, so I wasn't home, and it was a meeting night and everything, and my wife is listening on Zoom, and here we go. My kid writes, I will have to talk about what happened when I was gone. Mom was listening to her meeting, talking about how they improved the Bible and how it's still the same. I said I wasn't interested. And I write back, okay, you could compare Bibles. They changed a lot. She told me to listen with one ear, I guess to listen to the meeting, while my kid was doing something else, gaming and stuff. They say that they are still the same when they change the Bible. And I write back, you could listen, but confirm if it's true by researching. There again, give them a choice. Research. And my kid writes, but we know they get rid of some of it, like some passages and verses. And I write back, okay, you could compare Bibles. They changed a lot. And I wrote back, yup, I'm in the process of comparing Bibles. They changed a lot, but subtle. And my kid writes, you can show me some of the stuff that's not there and some changes to the stories. And I write back, yes. A while ago, I mentioned that the JW Bible, the New World Translation, is an heavily altered and corrupted Bible. Not in them words to my kids, but I told them that it's not the same as every other Bible that is out there that was confirmed by scholars, and we know who the scholars were that did the changes or the translation and things like that. And I told them that, and this is true, I believe this to be true, that the Jehovah Witness Bible is heavily doctored to the point where their theology changed the Bible instead of the Bible changing the Jehovah Witness theology. It's backwards. And that's what I told them. And I gave them a couple of examples and things like that. And that was the conversation. And I also blurted that out during, when the JW lady was around. And mind you, when I talk to these people, I make sure the kids are around in earshot distance so they can listen to it. They need to experience it for themselves right there and then. And I think that's where all the doubt and sort of like the inquisitive eye towards the Jehovah Witnesses arose in my kids, saying, especially when that JW lady was around, they noticed that she was kind of unhinged and kind of getting combative and gaslighting, especially my wife. She's been gaslighting me quite a bit with no proof whatsoever. So I don't go into my wife's phone for anything really, but I must admit I do go in there to see the conversation between the elders and all her JW friends, just to see what they're saying and doing. I have access to it, and she also has access to my phone, but my phone is boring compared to, many people. So she doesn't go in there at all, really. But, yeah, and funny enough, my kids go into her phone, too, to see this conversation as well. So this is a text from the JW lady that came to visit from a couple of videos ago. She doesn't come anymore. I think I scared her off, literally. She doesn't want to deal with the facts that I've been saying to her, like, 607 and especially that and many other things. And she doesn't want to hear it. I'm marked. I'm done with her. I'm unspiritual. I'm an apostate, pretty much. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, she's best buds with my wife now. And this is the text that she wrote to my wife, trying to tell her that, well, I'll read it to you. Keep trying to conquer the world. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Do whatever it takes. Attend the meetings, in parentheses, attend, which is, what they do. It may mean you will need to go to a separate area in the house to focus. Mind you, bother my wife while she's listening to the Zoom meetings in the same room, so she doesn't really go to the other room because I don't interject any opinions or anything. I am quiet, so keep that separation as far as I'm concerned. Make sure the girls know that the truth is important to you, and continue to supplicate Jay. Keep remembering that this spiritual paradise is the only peace the girls will find in this system. Make it look its best so that the girls want to know more. You are the spiritual head. When you are speaking of the truth, always speak with loving concern. Don't get impatient or frustrated or let it show in your expression. Your love will overcome. And how hypocritical, in my personal opinion, and ironic that the lady that came over to the house to groom my kids into a study lost her cool, was impatient, got frustrated, and her expression in my presence when I was just, pointing out some facts and having a conversation with her and, going against what she's been taught. So I found that really ironic. But there you go. This is the team that's behind Team JW Indoctrinate there. You got the elders against you, all the JWs against you, whole JW family side, which is mainly the ones that are closest to us and where we live at. So I am outgunned out here. I am outmanned. There's more of them, and it's just me. And with the kids, they're not listening to them. They're finding out exactly what's going on. My other kid, she has dropped off completely. She has no interest whatsoever. And she actually makes fun of it and things like that. And I told her, keep it down. I mean, don't be so obvious. Don't disrespect mom like that. But my other kid, like I said before, she has some a difference in her. Let's just leave it at that. And they're totally taking advantage of that, stereotyping her into being what I would say disabled, but that's farthest from the truth. They totally misunderstood her and underestimated her completely, as you can see from the text and everything. And I'm not saying anything outlandish. I mean, research. I mean, it's all there. And the kids, that's all they know how to do is research. Google is their friend. So that's where we're at right now. And finally, for my kid and I wanted to leave this last just to end this conversation and a recommendation or advice that seems to work. It's not a silver bullet, like I say, but as they say, love conquers everything. I'm not negative to the kids at all, except I'm just stating facts and what's been printed and documented. But when I sort of unwitnessed to them, according to the Bible and court cases and their publications and things that could be proven without a doubt. As you can see in this whole video that I'm showing here, the kind of technique that they're using here, the overall theme from where the JWs are coming from is paint me in a bad picture, defame my character. The stereotypical JW opposer is mean, nasty, without morals. I mean, whatever negative connotation that goes along with their way of thinking of people like me, I guess, and all you worldly spouses out there that just want to do the right thing. They don't know what to do with me. My actions are not showing anything negative, really. So they have to paint this other picture. And this is starting with my wife. She, from the get-go, she started with the stereotype of what she thinks I'm doing. Talking to the kids, driving them away from her and poisoning them and things like that. Something negative where all I'm doing is showing them what's actually true out there as far as what's documented. Still, you can see the technique here. Defame my character, put me in a bad picture. Too late. It's really too late in my case here with the kids. And the more they scramble, and all this is after the fact from that one or two encounters with that JW lady in the house. And I would say that right now I can't fly under the radar like I was saying before. Now they are afraid of me. The elders, they never once wanted to talk to me or call me or have a meeting or anything. I would love to do it, actually, in front of the kids, of course. But that's not going to happen. And in the 20 odd years, that has never happened. They're scrambling on what to do with me. They can't put me in a box that they could categorize and fall back on their training. In closing here, that's the technique that I've been doing. Passive aggressiveness, give a bit, take it all. Give a little. It's working for me. I don't know if it'll work for you, but you could try it and you could see the outcome of all this. I'm documenting everything, the conversations, the text, and everything. But this is how I close with the kids all the time. Even though they're trashing me all up and down the street, I do not trash them back as far as my wife and the family. The JWs, yeah, elders and above, I talk smack about them all the time. But as far as my wife, I still love her very much, and it's not her fault. And me having that mind frame makes it a hell of a lot easier to endure all this, because it is overwhelming at sometimes. But the last text that I had with my kid about this situation hasn't been since for a while now. I say to her, don't get frustrated. Just endure it like the rest of us. Maybe someday she will open her mind. She writes back, I'm going to delete this since mom knows how to unlock my phone. Okay? And I write back, yes, please. Also, think about changing your password. I don't know how to do that. And I say, ask your sister to help you. And finally, at the end of this conversation here, remember, miss, you're almost an adult who can make your own decisions. Don't let them take advantage of you. Most importantly, love mom and don't argue with her. The memorial season is where they are at their most sensitive and will be in your face about it. She writes, okay, she understands it. She's going to take the passive-aggressive stance on this. I've actually told them to appease mom, to make her happy. Go to the memorial with her, accompany her. It'll make her very happy. But just don't participate in passing the crackers and wine to anybody. Just deny it and let it past you, if you choose to do so. And that's where we're at right now. Obviously, I'm having a big effect on them, and enemy number one, JW enemy number one to my local congregation here. And that's where we're at. But I still have my kids on my side. And to their credit, because they want to, and not because I'm forcing them into it and anything into it. As you can see from these examples from this video, seems like their guilt, the fog, behavioral control, the bite model, information control, emotional control, thought control, fear, obligation, and guilt. They tacked all that onto my kids who are mid-teens, both of them. But and all I've tacked on to them was identify these techniques and do your research and make an educated decision on your own as to what you want to do with your life. And that's where we ended up at. I hope this helps people out there, and I'll be back for some more.